This is the first time that a Pakistani American Film Festival has been put together, and we are proud of all of you for joining us. We are proud of all the people that submitted their films to the film festival. So thank you, all of you. My name is Arshia Hasnain, and I'm going to be the moderator for today. I'm here from, I've got more Chicago support down here, right? So, my fans, thank you so much, guys. Many love you. Thank you guys for being here. I'm from Chicago. I run a domestic violence service agency, which is called Empowering Women, MFP, and we work with survivors of gender-based violence. And you might say, what is she doing here at this film festival moderating? But I have been moderating and been part of the Chicago South Asian Film Festival for the past 15 years. So believe in being on the other side of the screen. All these individuals that you see here are the ones who are the actors, the producers, the directors. And we, on this side, are the ones that actually enjoy getting to see their performances. Today is having South Asian roles in lead roles in mainstream cinema. What are we doing that is right to get brown people that look like us to be in front of the camera, to be producing, writing, and directing? What have we been doing, and what still needs to be done? So what I'll ask each one of you is to please introduce yourself to the audience and give us your input and your takeaway of this topic. That what do you feel in your specific area? And you know, one thing I must say, each one of these individuals have made it to the mainstream. You might recognize some of these faces, so a loud round of applause for each one of them, because they truly have made it to the level where we're going to be talking about what does it take to get there. So please. Kashif, oh, you've got one. Perfect.
Thank you so much. Are we on? Okay, there we go. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Kashif Pasta. I'm a writer, director, trying to not be a producer, but I have lapsed producer, whatever you want to call it. Is this on? Yeah, there we go. Okay. Originally from Vancouver, Canada, and now I'm based in LA. I have a production company called Dunya. We really focus on empowering storytellers of color with stories that have a sense of joy and wonder and purpose. So things that, films that don't feel like homework but do have something to say. Myself, I really, focus on exactly those types of stories. Usually have some kind of genre element, a lot of comedy and a lot of heart. Because I grew up on Hollywood films, but I also grew up on British comedy, on Bollywood films, and on a lot of PTV VHS tapes in Vancouver. Really culturally learned on my Alpha Bravo Charlie tapes back in the day. And so the combination of all of those things is what I like to bring to screen. Do you want to answer that first question?
Please, if you could, yeah.
It was like, what are we doing to?
Yeah, what are we doing to promote South Asians in the mainstream?
I think it's really important to, because often it's not easy to do this, but in telling our stories, sometimes we could just be telling them for ourselves, and that's great, actually. I want to do that. I'm not so concerned about representation. I'm really concerned about who's at the center of a story and who's a story about and who holds a power. I'm not really concerned about a mainstream audience, but I'm not concerned about catering to them, but I really want them to be able to enjoy the work. And for it to be accessible, and not accessible in a way that we need to transform ourselves to be more palatable, but more presenting ourselves in a way that one can understand. We all grew up having to figure out all these cultural clues about I don't know, what's the Beatles and this band and that band, and figuring that all out. I'm okay, it's okay to turn the tables and have other people try to figure out our culture. We don't have to over-explain, but just telling stories in a way that it's like my whole artistic thesis is what if people of color were people? What if Muslims were people, right? And I noticed for myself, a lot of my writing was very much in that zone of all the characters are perfect and everybody's very good because we're doing representation. And I realized actually I was dehumanizing this a little bit, because I don't know any Muslims that are politically violent. I don't know any, I don't know if people fit the stereotypes, but I know a lot of Muslims who don't get along with their brother, I know a lot of Muslims who are a little greedy. I know a lot of Muslims who have like just human issues, and those are relatable to people. So the hope is that people relate to us as people. Yeah, like I won't say everything right now. We'll go to the next person. And yeah.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. I'm Samiya Khan, and I'm based in Los Angeles. Full-time actor and started late, but here I am. And what should I tell you about myself? So I am originally from Karachi. I've been in the States for about 38 years now. Always been a very how should I say, animated person and a people's person. So my friends have always been telling me, oh, you're going to be on TV. And I said, hey, no, I do all this mimicry, calling the people to not. I said, no, you know, here I am. But I enjoy what I do, it's a passion. And the more I'm doing this, the more I know this is what I want to do. And representing Pakistan and promoting Urdu is where my focus is. So any chance I get, I'm promoting culture and Urdu. I've done something for this news, like that, for translations. But as far as your question and all, I feel some percentage, I won't put a number, which again from my personal experience, we have some Pakistani producers, directors, writers out there who have actually made it way before we have, and they are out there. I don't see the support for each other. I see a lot of support for our Indian friends in artist community, and I have been personally on at least couple of projects that they were showing a Pakistani mom, and they still picked a Pakistani director, and they still picked an Indian actress, and they still got me in the show, but as a support. So there's a little bit, it's like pinches a little bit that your own people sort of are not supporting you, and I've seen that, and that's why I'm mentioning it, because I've experienced it firsthand. So I see our support needs to be a little bit more stronger out there for our own community, for our artist community. And as far as the stereotypical roles, and I've turned on a few Afghani mom, and so they had absolutely no clue about that culture. And I said, no, I'm not going to represent you because you didn't go to your homework. So, and it was the lead role, which I did turn out. So, a lot of different situations, for that.
Excellent, excellent. And that's why, Rung Film Festival and what they're doing this year to promote Pakistani American films and artists, I think it's key. It's a great platform. So, again, congratulations to the Rung team.
Congratulations. Yes. Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum. Namaste. I'm Mahesh Sriram, originally from India, Hyderabad. And I would like to congratulate Rung entire team. This is a great platform, actually, which my co-host talking about, how to connect. This is a great place to be connected, and we will talk about it more, how to go forward. About myself, I grew up in India most of my life. And I came to, as everyone, my passion for acting was there from India. I was doing passion shows. It was a gradual path for me. I started when I came to this country, I didn't know anything about how to get into the fashion industry or commercials. I was one of the millions of people who was having the interest to do something, right? And busy with my job, then that was it. Then eventually I got into commercials. I'm thankful that I've been on great brands, international brands, and I was also on the Super Bowl commercials doing international brands. And thank you. And
We want to hear you.
yes, thank you.
Actually, keep the mic a little bit closer to your mouth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's-
Perfect.
I can hear myself. So I was telling you, it was a very gradual progress for me. I started with commercials, where I had the opportunity to work with a lot of Hollywood studios and great productions across the country. And then finally, it happened that I started into Hollywood movies. with small roles. I'm entry into, I got entered into Hollywood movie with Barbie movie, if you have seen. How many of you seen that? I got just one shot, just coming opposite to Ryan Gosling when he comes to the real world.
And that's probably enough.
You're true, actually. That's a beginning, actually. Then I got signed with the Disney Haunted Mansion, and where I played a Maharaja role in that movie. If you have seen, even, you know, he is also there in the movie. So now we got to know. And then I'm very thankful that now I signed a lead role in the Hollywood. So I'm glad to share more journey because it's a process. There's so much involved in it, and we all go through that. And there is no shortcut. You know, whether we are South Asians, and this is a great time to be there. And it is all about how we connect each other and share information and work for it. It is end of the day, it's the individual how you want to make it. So we'll talk more, you know, as we go. And thank you very much. I'm glad to be here part of this Rung Film Festival today. Thank you.
This is work. You hear me? Okay, Assalamu alaikum. My name is Kamran Shaikh. I was born in Karachi, Pakistan, and I came here when I was about 4 or 5 years old. So I lived in New York all my life, and then I moved to Atlanta. My story is very unique in the sense that I was very lucky, very fortunate. I never pursued acting, but I loved acting. I've always studied movies. I've always looked at movies and just studied the acting. Anthony Hopkins, for example, or Clint Eastwood. I was working for Deloitte & Touche in Atlanta, and I got approached. Long story short, it was for Captain America Civil War. It was just a fluke. They like my white hair. But from there on, then that was 5-6 years ago, and it's from there on alhamdulillah, I've had about 30 projects so far. One, I mean, with lead actors, Ozark and Samuel Jackson I played opposite Samuel Jackson for a series that he did. You know, a lot of people believe that getting into acting, you know, it was, I don't know why it was easy for me. I don't know why it happened that way. But I'll tell you this, after every 100 auditions or so, you get one. So basically that's the ratio. But we do need support from each other. And because of the fans is when you know, and it's a catch-22 now because I got a spot in a lead movie, but then I got replaced with somebody who's bigger because, you know, they're a bigger name, so they're going to attract more attention. And then later on, I hear from the director and the producers that we should have picked you because you know we'll do better. Okay, well, but you got to make the money first.
Those are all the challenges, right? Those are all the challenges
Those are
of
the
not
challenges
just
we'll talk about,
South
yeah.
Asian
Oh yeah,
actor, but
absolutely.
any,
In any,
you know,
yeah.
mainstream actors, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. And it's a catch-22 where it's like they're trying to make money, but they want to hire you. You're good, but we want to make money, so what do we do?
Yeah, yeah,
So anyway, we'll talk more about that later.
absolutely.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I'm not a leading man, but you knew that already. Sitting next to these two leading men, unless there's a role for like an older-ish Pakistani uncle with over there, I could probably.
This is a great looking panel, guys, right? Great looking panel right now.
So I'm representing Unity Productions Foundation. We are a mission-driven nonprofit that is focused on using the power of film, television to change the narrative around Muslims, focusing on mainstream audiences. So everything we produce, we're really trying to get buy-in from mainstream platforms so that we get millions of viewers. We actually come up with many, many ideas, and we only make the films where we get some sort of a buy-in, some sort of a commitment. Thereby, if we can get a national broadcast, if we can get a digital distribution deal, we can sort of have a good chance of getting several million viewers. In terms of South Asian leads, we made a docudrama a few years ago called Enemy of the Reich about Noor Inayat Khan. this kind of amazing, heroic,
The crowdfunding campaign, right? I was one of the backers.
unlikely, very unlikely hero. Like a young woman who was just a musician and sort of a pacifist, and she finds herself in the middle of World War II, and she sees the evil and she feels very motivated to join Winston Churchill's spy network and ends up being killed. And, you know, at this time of what's happening in the world with Gaza and so on and all these tragedies happening, it's a story of a Muslim who put her life on the line to save people, right? And she was killed at Dachau, at the Dachau concentration camp. And the film that we're representing here today, I was one of the executive producers, one of the writers, one called Lamia's Poem, and Farhan Tahir, we're actually showing in a few minutes. Farhan Tahir, of course, many of you know Farhan, right? Very well-established Pakistani actor. He really did an amazing job in that film, as you'll see.
No, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you, everyone, you know, for sharing those stories with us. You know, there was this really interesting survey that was done by McKinsey on Asian Americans, and you know, what they said was that there are about 30% of Asian Americans that watch mainstream films, right? When you compare it to all the mainstreamers that are watching the film. And they love to watch it, but only 35% of them actually invest in watching those films. Right? So what is it that we can do, the audience, to really promote our narrative, our story, to be told in mainstream?
Yeah, as an audience, I mean, this is an interesting room to talk to because you're all doing the most, right? Like you're here today, it's a rainy day, flood warnings on the Maps app when you're trying to like get here. So, I mean, this is incredible. So you already know that of coming out to things, supporting, buying the ticket. So that's established. But I think beyond that, and I think Kamran said, like, yeah, it's not possible without the audience, right? And that's such a key thing because there's an opportunity to also be a champion within your own groups. Now we're all kind of like micro influencers, right? Just of our friends and family, and whether it's the WhatsApp group or the Instagram or whatever it might be, where it's crazy how like just a simple thing like sharing about an event, sharing about a screening. A lot of films like recently In Flames played at a few theaters. Queen of My Dreams is another Pakistani Canadian film that released in Canada, but inshallah it'll come here as well. But like, you know, they get a few screenings, they exist, but then you just need people to take the tickets. I posted that I was buying a ticket to In Flames. It was like an hour and a half from where I live. Suddenly I was like, all right, I'm buying like 3 more tickets, right? Suddenly it started to, you could see on the AMC app, you could see our screening started to grow, and we also live like an hour and a half from there, right? So it was like we planned our week around that screening because it was such a far drive, but you know, it makes a small difference. It makes hopefully a big difference to even the people who we know who weren't there, just seeing us go to it. It was like, oh, that's a thing to do. Okay, and then the filmmakers are there. Okay, you just make it more and more normal. You know, unfortunately, yeah, I don't know. It's very easy to get like the little what's the box called? It's like you buy them on WhatsApp and it has like every movie on it, and it's cool and it's exciting and we're fans, but nobody gets paid. And so that's great. I love the enthusiasm, but definitely buying tickets sometimes is good, and encouraging this too as well. Yeah.
I mean, I don't have much to say. As basically you said everything. The support, we can't do anything about our craft being out there unless we have support from especially from our own people, because casting director actually has asked me, where are your Pakistani support followers on my Instagram? They see, somehow they have access to that. And to me, of course, it matters a lot, the support from the community and everything. But, and I do market whenever my feature films are coming out and stuff, but hardly anybody showing up. So I'm talking about edit. So, but that's okay, and then everybody has a thing. The thing is that basically you said everything, and we are out there representing Pakistan in our own small capacities, at least for myself, I can say that. So every bit helps from the community and everything. So it just like encourages us to even, keep going. So that does help when they all come out. This is amazing. Even yesterday, so many of us showed up. People. We really appreciate it for you all to be here.
I've got another question for the two of you. All right. So both of you, yes, Kamran and Mahesh. what has been your most favorite project that you did? Mahesh Sriram. Oh, you don't.
For me, every project is important. You know, it's a kind of a adrenaline effect, you know, when you go there onto the set. Every time you're in front of the camera, can you all hear me? When you're in front of the camera, it's kind of a magic, you know. You don't know your power yourself because all the time either you're trying to prepare for that or you're learning something and you're auditioning, you know. But real thing is when you're in front of the camera, you have very little time. Everybody knows you. There are 100 people, 200 people, 300 people, production team watching you, and that is your moment. And you have to respect that in all means because if you, no matter whether it is a small short film or a Hollywood movie or a commercial, you have to think you are the final product of that entire process. That is the acting for the camera, right? The director's vision, you are putting it up. So I enjoyed every moment of it. Every project I learned something and I enjoy so much. And
Very good answer,
everything.
absolutely, very good.
It's an adrenaline rush, it really is.
Yeah.
When you're on set, you're treated like a king or a queen. I mean, really, they pamper you. When that camera comes on, I don't know about how it is for you. For me, when that camera comes on in my face, I come alive. Otherwise, I'm kind of like down like this or cover my face or something like that. But when that camera, I'm like, oh. My favorite project was Outer Banks because we shot in Barbados for a month and a half.
Yes.
Poor me. So I was, what?
Lucky you.
Yeah, exactly. So I was in a resort. I would work a few hours during the day and then relax, and then go on the beach or whatever. So it was a really good project, and then the popularity because of it was huge because the kids love that show, and I gained all my followers because of that.
Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you. Jawaad, for you, what types of stories are you really looking at? When you're making your films, what is your target audience? And of course, money is something that is in the picture, so.
So we have 100 ideas, just like everyone here, right? We have no shortage of ideas. I have so many films I wanted to make myself. We're really trying to resonate with a genre, and because genre means you get a built-in audience.
Sure.
And so, for example, we released a film not too long ago called The Great Muslim American Road Trip.
Yes.
When we initially pitched it, it was going to be kind of a comprehensive history of Islam in America. And when we started talking to platforms, they said, yeah, you've got something there, but it's too academic. So they said, come back, tell the story another way. And then we said, okay, well, road trip is a genre. Let's do a Muslim couple traveling historic Route 66. And every place they go, they're learning something about the experience. Because they have big personalities, right, that they carry the story along. So that's kind of the way we look at it. We have so many ideas, but we always get in front of platforms first and try to get some buy-in before we go and spend the next 2 years of our life working on the story. And just adding sort of to this education piece that you mentioned, I think the other thing to think about is we don't have enough people on the executive side. I mean, we're all on the talent side, creative side. We need more people in influence at Netflix and at Prime and all these other places. Because one of the things we do as part of UPF is we actually have a consulting service called Muslims on Screen and TV. And we try to help educate screenwriters as to who Muslims are. And so that, hopefully that it becomes easier for some of these talented people here. And so one of the things we've done, I remember we were talking to one screenwriter and they were like, okay, I've been reading a lot about Muslims in the news. I think we should have a Muslim character, but here's the problem. Our story takes place in Phoenix, not in Iran or Saudi Arabia. And I was like, I can introduce you personally to 1,000 Muslims in Phoenix. So part of that education process is really important.
I agree. Throwing it out into the audience. Yes, we've got a question in the back already.
Samiya, I really appreciated what you said when you first introduced yourself about how all of us is standing on the shoulders of giants of people who came before us. And my email signature has, for the longest time, been this woman who, she graduated from Wellesley College. She's legally blind. She's actually produced some films herself. Her name's Mona Minkara. I'm not exactly sure of her. I think she might be Iraqi. But it says, no matter how independent we imagine ourselves to be, we've all been on the receiving end of someone else's kindness and generosity. And she made this at her commencement speech, and I cannot take it off my signature. The question I have, it's for all panelists, but I think maybe Kamran, Samiya, and Jawaad can better answer it, although I welcome you guys as well. But the question I have, in some ways, I feel like we're speaking in an echo chamber because all of us, I mean, myself as a filmmaker as well, like I feel like we all appreciate film, but why is it? Like if you were to pinpoint, I'd love to hear your theory, why is it that our community doesn't appreciate this type of art form or storytelling?
Great question, and I would love to know that too, because you know why? Because when you sit around friends and family, everybody is such a movie goer. You can talk about all sorts of Bollywood movies and even Pakistani ancient movies and whatnot. Anyway, old movies. Everybody is so much into it, but when it comes to supporting and coming out, I mean, and I understand completely that we have distances, we have weeknights and stuff, but like he and I were gonna go on a Wednesday night. Not just that, okay, we wanted to see, but just also for support, because so it's just little things like that. So everybody we know is so much in our Pakistani community, we're so much into it, and why not, So that's why I said I would like to know that also.
Yeah, I think for me, yeah, because you're right. If people do love movies, we have arts and culture. I was just texting the family about the new Coke Studio thing. Today it was uploaded. We were having a conversation right before this. So this is very biased because this is kind of my point of view, my my perspective on it. So it might be a little bit controversial for me. I think on the filmmaker side, and this shouldn't be every movie, but we do need to have a little bit more fun with it as well. I think for me personally, I really want to try avoiding films that feel like homework, because what ends up happening is people outside the community are so people inside the community, especially younger kids growing up, you're going on an app or you're going online, you have whatever, so many things competing for your time, right? Fortnite, video game, Roblox, whatever. And your choice is between have a good evening or watch something that represents you, right? It's be depressed, watch something brown, or just have a good time. And so you grow up in that, and you're I just don't want to be part of that, right? And the problem outside the community, and we do need serious dramatic films, I'm not saying don't do that. But actually In Flames is an interesting example, right? Because it's super, super serious, it's actually a really hard watch, but it's kind of a horror film, so it is a bit genre-y to what you were saying, right? There's that horror hook and that genre hook, so it's engaging. But it's a really hard watch. But I would say, yeah, even for people outside the community, mainstream audiences, when it feels like homework, the risk is that then people say either they don't want to watch it or they watch it and they go, I saw that, now I'm not racist, right? I did my homework. And I'm no, I don't want the movie to be an escape for you to say you did your work. This is actually just something to entertain you, that this is a story and you need to go out there in the world and do that. And so I do think we need to see ourselves as people as well. We need that entertainment. People go to movies to be moved, to cry, to feel connected as people, but we also go because it's Saturday, because it's Thursday night, you had a long day of work, and it's important to be there for all those modes.
Do you also think that sometimes as parents, we are a little reluctant to send our children into acting roles or into production or into direction? Or is that trend, is it changing? I mean, do we still want doctors?
Yeah, I mean, if you could be a doctor and an actor, that'd be great. If you could be at Deloitte and then be on Outer Banks, that'd be great. I think, but the point was made earlier about executives. It's not an excuse. Even if you have a business degree, we need so many people in that side of the industry. My wife is a business degree, CPA, always loved entertainment, doesn't see herself as a creative. She is now at Disney. She manages the marketing budgets for streaming, right? It's that her Excel skill is more reliable than my directing income, right? And so we need that. Yeah.
Well, no, I was gonna say that I think Generation X, which is us basically, I think we're more, with my kids, I've told them, do whatever's gonna make you happy. My youngest son is 13. he wants to be an actor, like me, and he has the potential to be. He's a wild guy. But yes, I think yeah, there's more encouragement nowadays because our parents used to be like, you know, after the India, but now was giving. So yeah, I think we're somehow starting to break that mold and evolving.
Samiya, you had that.
Yeah, I just wanted to also add as a mom, my middle child, my son, he started also, he's taken after mom. So he's like, I want to do modeling and acting. So yeah, go for it. And he's martial also good for things like 6'4" and stuff. So he did some modeling for Kenneth Cole and he did some Glee. So he got the bug, and then he had to move towards corporate and now, and he's my biggest cheerleader. And I've always encouraged him, so you have it. The other two don't want to do anything with it. But I'm so for it because we are not living in Pakistan, we are not our parents. I mean, I say that with most respect, of course. But we cannot apply what we grew up with in Pakistan over here. I mean, we have amazing opportunities for our kids if we're going to hold back. And I have a couple of friends who do not want her, one of them does not want her to, she doesn't want her to go in the industry. And I'm always working on her that, listen, we are not living in Pakistan. These are the kids, who are further gonna go and represent Pakistan and everything. So we do have people here like that, not like that. Absolutely.
Added to that, for your question, actually, there is no answer for it, but keep doing what you like to do. That is an art and expression. An artist makes a painting because, he likes to. So sometimes what happens is the generation differs or the geography differs, people. So it happens suddenly, so many small movies, especially now, you have a huge audience worldwide. You never know what happens. So keep doing. And coming to the next generation about acting, it is a first thing we need to understand, especially as a South Asian, we come into this country. I'm talking about my experience, which is I'm sharing. One is we need to understand the market. That will take a long time. And the other thing is, if anyone is interested in acting or any kind of director, producer, they need to get trained first. Training. You study like engineering for 5 years and you get a job somewhere, right? So it is the same thing. You work for a doctor, then you become a doctor, then it takes so long to be a real doctor. So you're not just good looking and okay, I'm having interest. No, you need to be trained. So a lot of people lack that. They try and they fall back.
Yeah, believe it or not, looks doesn't have to do anything with that. It really doesn't. It's about presence, and there's not one day where I don't get messages on Instagram from any one of my followers just to ask me, how do I get into this? Can you help me with this? And there's not one time where I've said I can't help you or ignore them. I will always help. So I think the support is needed also, especially among the South Asian group and Pakistanis and stuff like that. I would pour my heart out and help in any way I can.
Sadia, you have a question?
Yeah, it related to just a follow-up, piggybacking what you are all just sharing. It's very practical, and yes, I do have the other side of my brain is business related. I just wanted to ask how we are following our dreams and we're doing what your heart allows you to or takes you, but how do we pay the bills and how do we make it how do we keep gainfully employed while we are doing these ambitious undercover sort of projects that will evolve one of these days?
Nicholas, no, what was that actor? Jack Nicholson said, acting is everybody's favorite second job.
Exactly.
But we all want to make it our first. So
That's a $1 million question, we all face, whether it's a Hollywood actor, you see them on the face, like big stars now, they have gone through all these facts. Some people like their stories, I like to read a lot of autobiographies, other successful people, all the actors, especially now. If you see their stories, they have started, where they don't have anything and they have suffered so much. So everyone's story is very different. You have to balance that. That's what, even when you go for the training, they tell you, this is not going to, even your best in the institute, you cannot get a job there out, something will pay you any amount of where you're able to run your lifestyle. No, it is not going to happen unless until you make your name. And we all face that challenges all the time. So how to make it is you have to balance, get your, whether it is projects also, like, somebody's producing, somebody's doing, you need to balance that and come out of it.
LA में कहीं भी चले जाएं, every waitress, every waiter is an actor. Anywhere you ask in LA. So that's how they get that.
The answer is waitressing.
Or IT.
Side gig. Side gig.
Let me share 3 specific opportunities for the independent producers out there, which I know is several people here, that are available now. So one is, again, this is not exclusive to South Asians, but for some of you, this might be relevant. There is a U.S. Muslim documentary fund. This is their first year. They're giving away $1 million a year for the next 3 years. It's being funded by the Doris Duke Foundation for Islamic Art. So we talked to them several years ago about funding independent films. They were initially very, very reluctant. They did give some money to Lamia's poem, and now they're doing this fund. So it's an open application. It's online now. It's managed through the Center on Asian American Media. You can check it out and apply there. Secondly, Pillars Fund has a fellowship and grant program. And there's also something called the M Film Lab. So there are slowly but surely some of the entrepreneurs, people who've made it in our community, who really want to invest in this. These are still very small, obviously, but you're not starting from nothing anymore. There are some possibilities of getting that seed money where you can put a screenplay together, a pitch package together, come with something. So those are 3 specific opportunities.
Wonderful. Guys, unfortunately, we just have to wrap up. Shahid is saying they're starting. So thank you to these amazing panelists. The meeting point with them, and right after this, we have Karachi at night, so we're going back.
And Lamia's
to the
poem.
And
Lamia's poem also won the Grand Jury Feature Award for last night.
Yes.
So you'll be watching the award-winning film.